Hey, MTS crew, what's going on? Hope it's all good in the neighborhood. I'm getting ready to make some stewed chicken and broccoli. So I'm going to use stewed chicken breast with this recipe, and I'm using two chicken breasts, and the chicken breast was pretty thick. So what I did was I cut them in half, so it gave me four pieces. And these are the vegetables that I'm going to use. I'll leave the recipe down below. So we're going to use celery, red pepper, purple onions, green bell pepper, and mushrooms in this dish. And we're going to saute our vegetables and chicken separate. We're going to stir fry the chicken. And also we're going to use frozen broccoli. Now, if you want to use fresh broccoli, you can go ahead and use fresh broccoli. But what I'm using is everything that's in my kitchen that's available to me that I won't have to run out to the store to get. So I just pulled out some chicken and sliced it up. I'm seasoning this chicken with garlic, a pinch of salt, black pepper, garlic powder, a pinch of salt, black pepper, and some Mrs. Dash seasoning. And I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of flour. And I'm going to take and just mix all this up because I do want a gravy with this broccoli and chicken. So we're gonna get all that mixed up and incorporated. Oh yeah, and I use maybe half a tablespoon of lemon pepper in this dish, and I use some paprika in here. And I'm gonna go ahead and get our meat cooked. I have about 2 tablespoons of grapeseed oil, and after I finish browning this chicken, I'm going to remove it from the pan, and I'm going to leave the drippings in there from the chicken, and then I'll go ahead and get the vegetables sauteed and ready to go. Even though I'm using some flour in this dish, I still consider this a light dish for us, and I have cut down on salt tremendously, and I try not to use a lot of seasoning with salt. So I did use a small amount of salt in here. So you want to make sure that you get this chicken good and brown. So I went ahead and left the drippings from the chicken in there. So I'm going to saute these vegetables and get them broken down, and not so much of transparent, but just sort of get them broke down some. And I usually take my broccoli and put my broccoli in after I put my chicken back in, because I don't want my broccoli to just cook to pieces because it's frozen anyway. So I kind of have my broccoli thawing out. And I went ahead and used about a tablespoon and a half of flour in this, and I'm going to go ahead and make a small gravy. You can use chicken broth. I didn't have any chicken broth, so I used a little water. I used about a cup and a half of water in here. And I'm going to use about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce in here, and that brings a really, really good flavor to this dish. And I'm going to go ahead and just let it simmer, put the top over, and let this simmer for a little while. And just make sure anytime you're cooking anything with a little with flour in there, just make sure you keep it stirred, because you don't want the flour or your dish to stick. So now everything, that the chicken is tender and the vegetables are tender. So I went ahead and added my broccoli, and this was frozen broccoli. So what I did was I just ran a little water over it to kind of get the ice off of it. And it's okay if you use broccoli right out of the freezer. So we're going to let this maybe simmer just a little bit longer, and this will be ready to go. So I'm going to serve this dish over some brown rice. We love brown rice, so I'm going to serve it over some brown rice. And it simmered for about maybe about 15 minutes longer on a low simmer. So here it is, y'all. Our stewed chicken with broccoli and vegetables. This is a really hearty meal, I think, for the cold months. And I hope you all enjoyed this recipe. Like, share, and subscribe, please. I really would appreciate it. This recipe is delicious. The flavors are really good. Now, if you want to add more salt, you can go ahead and add more salt to this. It's just that we are cutting back from so much of salt. And also, if you want to add chicken, bouillon, chicken base in here, you can go ahead and add that in there. Once you get your vegetables back in, you can add that to make your gravy. But I didn't use any chicken base or anything in this dish, just a small amount of salt, because I felt that the chicken base and the salt would be a little bit too much, but it still came out delicious, and it's beautiful dish. So y'all like this dish, and I appreciate y'all for watching to the end. God bless and bon appetit.